Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Broadbell Speaks. Today is a great day, right?
It is a great day.
Always. We're sitting here with
Yeah.
LaShanda, the lead chapter of Pink Boots in Greensboro.
Yes.
And we're going to get all into it, and we're going to talk about beer and women in the industry.
Yes.
But before we get to that, you can go ahead and give us your... You look like you was chilling, like you forgot your position.
Sipping on the drink. But as always, yes, we're in Flux Creative Studios with the engineer of the last 3 decades. Kurt is in the building. The man behind making it happen.
Yes, thank you, Kurt.
Yes.
Yay.
Yeah.
We make sure Kurt has the mic on. We got the camera covered, but that's all right. I know we talk about it every time. We forget. It's the liquor. We blame it on the alcohol.
We do drink.
Yeah. But are we gonna jump right in with LaShanda?
I think we should, because I want to know all about how you got into the industry.
So,
and what industry are we talking about?
Beer.
Beer.
I did my
Craft
intro,
beer.
but
Not just beer, craft beer.
Okay, all right. Okay. My intro had that she was the lead chapter of
I know,
Pink
but did you talk about craft beer?
Okay, go
Thank
ahead. Go ahead.
So I began, it was probably about 2016. I was working in a local bar in Burlington, the Piedmont Ale House, and they have 38 beers on draft. So I began just like sampling and dabbling in, just trying some of those beers. I began working for East Coast Wings, and I started doing I was like the corporate leader for them, but I was like training the bartenders, and they carry specific types of craft beer on draft. So I got more into that, and I was in Greensboro one day, and I was at an event, and a young lady walked past me. Her name is Eugenia Brown. Shout out. You know Eugenia?
She's in Charlotte. We were part of a global leadership workshop together. Yeah, for a whole year.
Full circle.
Yeah.
Full circle.
That's why she was at your engagement party.
It's like one of my best friends. Like,
she still
love her.
Okay,
yes, she's still in Charlotte.
Okay.
But so her shirt read, Black girls drink beer too.
Okay.
And I just didn't understand it. Like, I just couldn't fathom it.
Black girls drink beer too.
Yeah, I was like, what do you mean? Of course black girls drink beer too.
Right.
But a lot of people don't think that black people or black girls or, we just don't drink beer, or we don't drink craft beer.
Black people talk, when you think about even in the entertainment, how often do they even talk about beer?
They don't. They talk about liquor and champagne all the time, and weed. Yeah, they don't never promote the craft beer or anything like that. Mm-hmm. But actually, in Atlanta, the Nappy Roots, they have a brewery. I think it's called Atlanta Tucky, something like that. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So you was with Eugenia and you seen the shirt.
Yes, and then I just asked her. Bring it back.
I had to remember where we were too. I was like, wait.
So I asked her, and then I just started following her on Instagram, and I just went through her Instagram, and I decided, I was like, well, I'm gonna make an Instagram page, just to figure out what I want to, where my next step is going into that. Okay. So as I started doing that, I learned about becoming a cicerone. And
what is that?
Cicerone.
Say that again.
A cicerone.
Cicerone.
A cicerone is pretty much a sommelier for beer.
Okay.
It's everything beer.
Cicerone.
Yeah, a cicerone. And I just started studying, and I'm still working at East Coast Wings in Charlotte, and my manager pulled me to the side, and he just didn't like my performance. He was like, I feel like you're getting off track. He was like, you're here to sell chicken wings. And if you want to do beer, you need to go work for a brewery. And that's what I took out of that whole conversation that me and him had. Not that my performance was lacking, not that whatever else he said. I took from that, he don't care about me or where I'm going in my life as long as I'm selling chicken wings from him. Well, those chicken wings is not what made me passionate about going to work anymore. Like, I hated going to work. So I saved up my little amount that I needed, and I was like, you know what? I'm gone. I left my key on the desk one night, and I never came back.
Yeah.
I was like,
no 2 weeks?
Nope. Nothing.
Because you knew you weren't going back.
No, and instead of trying to, I don't know, I just like the way people explain things to me. Like instead of him saying, okay, maybe we can work out something where maybe you're not working so many hours and maybe you can go and do this or you can do this. Yeah. Like he just pretty much gave me an ultimatum and I was like, okay. All right. I'll show you how a Scorpio really can be. Here's your ultimatum. Now you don't have a manager for your weekend shift. Mm-hmm. You come in and you work.
Right.
Here's the keys.
Yeah, here's your keys.
So the next step for you.
So the next step for me was I just pretty much just stepped back. I took some mental time that a lot of people just don't take for themselves.
So, right there, and not to stop your story, because we talk about that so much, that self-evaluation and getting an understanding. And you have to take that time. But just as you put it, people don't make time for themselves. People make time for everything else, everyone else. And your biggest obligation should be to you, and that gets missing so much. But I'm sorry, go ahead. I just love that
because I didn't know. I didn't know what I wanted to do next. I knew that my next step was going to be in the craft beer industry, but where was I going to go with it? I didn't know. How am I going to fit in? You know, I'm just leaving from the chicken wing world. Like I really have only a small amount of stuff under my belt, and I had just became a member of the Pink Boot Society. Had never been to a meeting, didn't know anything really about what I was getting into. And I was like, all right. So I took a month off. I didn't do anything. Then I started looking for a job. And I met a lady named Carmen from Little Brother Brewing. And I sat down and I explained to her my situation. And she looked at me and she was like, I'm going to make a position here for you because I see the fire and I feel the change that you're going to make in the industry. And I was like, oh, okay, great. Yeah. All I was thinking was, I have a job now. I'm going to have a job. Right. I didn't really realize what she was saying to me or what she even seen in me. Because she'd never met me. We sat down and talked maybe for 30, 45 minutes. And she was like, I want you to be a part of my team. So I went and still hadn't been hired at Little Brothers. And I was just hanging out. And I got a phone call and they needed a bartender for their second location, not the original Greensboro location that I had applied for. And I started working there. And
where's the second location at?
Where we had my engagement party, where I work at. That's where I work at.
Okay, that's Graham.
In Graham. Okay. So about a month after I was just bartending there, they offered me the taproom manager position. And maybe 3 months after that, I got an email from the Pink Boot Society saying that our chapter here in Greensboro had no leadership. We only had 4 members, one of them being me, and that if somebody didn't step up, they were going to pretty much shut our chapter down. And I was like, well, that's not fair. I haven't been to a meeting. I don't know what's going on. So I got on my laptop and I started emailing National and talking to the lady at National. I put together a meeting for, all the old members or anybody that was just interested. And it was probably 15 of us that showed up. And we just were hanging out. And I asked anybody, I was like, are you going to take leadership? Anybody going to do anything? They was like, no, you should do it.
Nobody wanted
to do it. So I took over the leadership in August. August of last year. And we had 4 members. We currently have 21 members.
Wow.
Your recruitment skills. Yes, lady.
We have 21 members. I am currently waiting to find out if I am going to have a position on the National Pink Boards Society thing, because they felt like I changed our society, our local chapter so much from going 4 to 20, but we're also one of the most active chapters. So if we when we go to our conferences, at least 7 to 10 of my members are going to be at that conference.
Right.
We have the most representation in the Pink Boots in this area right now.
So what type of activities do you do? What makes you active?
Once a month, we just have a local meetup. We'll meet up at a brewery. The brewery typically sponsors our first round of beers, saying thank you for being here. Thank you for letting people know what you do. We do educational meetings, just regular meetings. We do collaboration brew days. our collaboration brew days is our biggest fundraiser. So we raise our chapter funds through that. So we go in and we sit down with the brewer and we decide on what style of beer we want to brew, the name that we're going to give that beer. And once the beer is released, the beer is sold, they kick back, like typically it's like $1 for each pint sold in the tap room. If they do distribute 50 cents off each can, and they donate that money back to our chapter.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's how we raise our funds. And we just hang out. We're literally a beer sorority.
Yes, all ladies.
Yes, it's all ladies.
Yes, I think that's that cool. Is neat, and that's what her pictures reflect. That's on her Instagram, her photo shoot. It's her like in front of like barrels of beer. But you was reading a book, and I want to get into the book that you had in your hand because you was telling us about that before the show started. Now, what's this guy's name?
His name is Garrett Oliver.
Garrett Oliver.
Yes. He's really big in the beer industry. He actually got inducted into... I don't know everything about the beer industry, so, I'm just giving a brief thing, so I don't want anybody to quote me on everything. But he got inducted into some society or some big thing in, like, Germany.
Wow.
Yeah. It's, like, really big. He just, like, big, like... Oh God, it's so great. And like his bright, colorful shirts, and he always has on like this little, his hat.
And does he have a brewery himself? Or?
I believe so. I think it's called Brooklyn Brewery.
Okay.
As far as I know.
But that's not here. That's not, okay.
Okay, so, but people study him.
He's written
into the beer industry. That's somebody that you would need to kind of.
He has the MJF, which is I told you about his scholarships that he gives out. He gives out scholarships for brewing and distilling. It's for BIPOC people or people that are indigenous or, just anybody of color in the industry, just to help break down the barriers because it's so hard for people of color to even get started with anything. We don't know anything.
Well,
we don't know where to start.
The tools or the resources, we're like, what is it? I don't know.
You don't know where to start. And there are so many grants out there that...
Really?
Yes.
And see that part right there, just that knowing that information. But then I like what you're doing because of the fact you're bringing attention to it. So it's one of those things you don't even know the opportunity is there because you don't even know about it until someone mentions it. And then... it's always good when you can see an image that you can relate to and say, oh, okay, someone looks like me, someone that's doing this. I didn't even know this was a path that I could even venture down. So that's good, yeah.
Well, I have a question. Oh, you was going to say something?
Oh, I was going to say, my beer knowledge, I've paid for none of it. I've either won scholarships or grants through just stuff I see on Instagram. If it says, oh, apply for this, you think I ain't about to apply for it. Whether I win it or not, I applied for it.
Yeah.
So
apply for everything.
No, you go ahead because I'm interested in what kind of grant money did you receive?
With your interest in beer, I know 2016 is where it all kind of started. Prior to 2016, were you into beer to that degree or?
No, not really. More just going out having fun, just having the occasional drinks. Just the casual drinks and the social thing that was behind it.
But then that kind of, once you got into it, you found that desire, like,
it was like, this is something interesting right here.
Yeah, that's very curious.
Yes, I'm very curious to know how it is that people can go to work every day and drink beer and get paid for it.
But not only that, I
what?
What am I missing?
The fact that you made this discovery, found that you had an interest, and gravitated to that. So now your movement, the way you started to move, was directly in relation to that. Like even with the job with the manager, saying that to you, and you could have been like, okay, because you was familiar with that, you had security with that, you could have stayed and neglected, your desire to do something else and do something more. And as we talk about listening to that internal voice. That was good.
Yeah, I was like, it's time to go. I was like, it's something bigger out there for me. Than selling chicken wings and being in his kitchen all day. Like nobody sees me in the kitchen. Nobody sees you. Even as the manager, like you're in the back of that kitchen. As long as the food goes out right, nobody cares if the manager comes over to the table or anything like that. The manager's only seen when something's going wrong.
Very true.
Yeah. So was you in Charlotte at the wing place when I met you?
Yes, I was still working there.
Okay. And then you got the gig over And
so you all met back in 20, how long ago?
2019, 2020, okay. Something. 2019, 2020 or something. Yeah, we went to a brewery. We went to.
We was at a brewery.
Yes, we went to a brewery and we had so much fun.
Yeah, we did.
And then we went to the taco place.
Stephanie and Roger invited me because they had. That's the story when they had bum rushed my dinner, my infused dinner, and they felt bad, and they invited me out to that brewery place, and y'all happened to be there. Yeah, they felt bad. And they gave me some the eucalyptus plant and stuff that same night, and you and your now fiance, y'all happened to be there at the time. Y'all was girlfriend and boyfriend.
Yep, just girlfriend.
And we was at a beer place. Yeah, I had never been there. That's a nice brewery. It is
so nice. The wall work. Remember the stuff, the way that the stuff was cut. The brick was cut out on the wall, and there was a cutout of North Carolina on the bricks.
And that was in Gibsonville.
It is in Gibsonville. Yeah, Prague has been there for 2 years now. I think.
I love these small towns that have like the random spots to go to and just socialize, but it's very small and intimate.
Those gold nuggets that you don't know about.
You don't even want to tell people about it because you don't want nobody else to know. Yeah, so that's when we met, but I had no idea that you would be so into beer like you are now.
I didn't either.
Right. Yeah.
That was just the beginning.
That was the beginning.
It was the beginning.
Yeah.
Because I didn't even know.
So do you see yourself before
the grants.
Before I get into that, the grants that you have received towards, I guess, training yourself, is that the grants? Yeah. So what kind of grants?
So Eugenia did a scholarship thing that she gave away that the Cicerone program helped her with. Wow. They gave it to, I think it's 25 women. Oh. And they gave away the level 2 Cicerone, which is like the big step into it. So you do like a certified beer server, which is just like basic knowledge. But level 2 Cicerone is like knowing. It's like a 4-hour exam. You have to do a tasting pour, and then to accumulate it together, then you find out if you pass it. Oh. And there are no Black females in North Carolina that have a Cicerone.
Oh. Wow. Well, have you?
I test in May.
Okay.
I test in May.
Oh, okay. I'm rooting for you.
But I won that. That was a $500 scholarship that I won from her.
That's nice. So with that, when you say you're doing the tasting, so you're explaining what you're tasting with the beer?
For the tasting part of the exam, there are 6 off flavors that you can find in beer. So you have to be able to identify those 6 off flavors. They will give you a couple different styles of beers, and you'll have to be able to look at the color of that beer, look at the head on that beer, taste that beer, and be able to tell which style of beer that is.
And when you say the head of the beer, what's
the foam that's on the top of the beer that most people do not want.
Okay.
Right.
So
did we supposed to want it?
Yes, it's very important for the aroma and the taste and the flavor of the beer.
Really?
And it's distinct by the beer, the foam is? Didn't know that. Okay.
All right, that's okay. Maybe I need to start.
I know.
Paying more attention. I always kind of scrape it off.
I told you I'd ruin the beer for you. Just ruin it for you.
Really?
It's interesting.
Like you're looking at people like,
yeah,
they don't even know how to drink. Yeah.
Does it have to do with the way it's being poured too?
All of it.
Okay.
All of it.
So I'm sure you looking at someone who comes, you know how some people come to the table with the beer and they want to pour it. Are you watching them as they pour it? It's like,
yes.
Yes. You critiquing it all.
Yes. Most of the time I'll be like, I just pour it myself.
Yeah.
Yeah. Unless it comes out of the draft and then, of course.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. That's cool.
My next question, because we had on the show a gentleman that has his own wine. Then we had a gentleman that did their own vodka.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I want to know if you know information. If you wanted to do your own beer, what steps would that look like for you to create your own beer and package it and put it on the shelf?
Okay. I guess it's kind of hard, but like you could do like contract brewing, which a lot of people do like contract brewing where they go in. I mean, like you take your recipe. You have to start with the recipes. You have to know what your recipe is going to be, what you're going to be putting inside of your beer, what style of beer you want to be making. Mm-hmm. And then you would need somebody's equipment, unless you would be at home making your own home brew, but packaging home brew and being able to like actually distribute it and sell it. You know, there's like different rules and regulations with being able to like distribute and like sell your beer. So then you have to have permitting and stuff like that. And these are things that people don't know.
Oh, sure.
That stop them and halt them. And they're like, oh, okay, I don't know where to go from this next step. And it's permitting and finding out those small things. And you just have to find that one person that's actually going to give you information.
Okay. All right.
And let you know what the next step is, that what you need to be doing.
And giving that guidance.
Yeah, you need somebody that's going to guide you. You can't do it on your own.
Right.
You can't.
Yeah, you got to.
You can try. But you'll never find out everything that you need to know. And you'll get stuck somewhere.
All right. Yeah, but it can happen.
It can definitely happen.
Just got to network with the right people.
Mm-hmm. I've done collaboration brews where I go in and I help with the brewer. I did one a month ago for the Vale, which is a really large brewery out in Richmond, Virginia. Okay. Mm-hmm. And we did a beer called Scars is Beautiful, which
Scars are beautiful.
Scars are beautiful because it was for double mastectomy patients. So when people go in and they get the double mastectomies where they have their breasts removed, the surgical team is not trained to go back and do like plastic surgery or anything. So they just have these ugly scars across their chest. Even if they decide that they want to have implants added in, they don't have a nipple anymore. So there's a fund called the Pink.
Take away the nipple?
Mm-hmm. There's a fund called the Pink Ink Fund. Where they Pink Ink Fund, where they fund people of color to be able to either get a chest piece to cover that scar, or if you do have those implants, then she'll tattoo you a realistic looking nipple back on. Nice. And her name is Amy Black.
Amy Black.
Yes.
Is that really her last name, Black?
Mm-hmm. It is, and she is a very famous tattoo artist.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And this is in Richmond, Virginia.
Mm-hmm. But there are also funds like that all around that I didn't know about until I went and did this beer. So next year, I want to get a couple breweries together to do this beer called Scars is Beautiful, and it benefit the women of Greensboro, Burlington, or, find that small fund because they're everywhere.
Yeah.
But people don't know about it.
Right.
People don't know.
Not a clue.
Mm-mm.
One thing I was just thinking as you were talking, I know you mentioned early on you took, I think, about a month just to do your own evaluation of things and how you wanted to go. And so once you went through that and then you started down this new journey of yours, was there any points within that where you second guessed anything or you wasn't sure? And I'm asking in regards to when people do start to realize they have an interest in something and they start to make their way down, that journey, but they run into obstacles or barriers along the way that might prevent them, whether it's financially or whether it's making lateral moves. Just thinking what kept you motivated to stay the path and to get to where you are, and then you're like, I can't believe I'm doing this. I enjoy this. I love this. Like you said,
it just kept coming.
Nothing. Yeah.
It just kept coming, like the good things, and just opening up to like when you go to these conferences and talking to people. And I went to a Pink Boots conference, and a girl walked up to me and she was fangirling me.
Yeah.
And she was like, oh my God, I can't believe I finally meet you. Oh my God, you're Black Beer Mom. I follow you on Instagram. I love everything you're doing. And I was like, at that moment, I was like, this is it. This is it. There's no reason. There's nothing that I should, I'm just accomplishing everything. Like, somebody is fangirling me.
Right.
Like, I sit on Instagram all day looking at these people and somebody is doing the same thing to me. I was like, what? Yeah. At that point, I was like, this is it. You just go. And then everything just falls into place now. Everything falls into place. Like, my calendar stays so full with me doing like a beer event here, becoming a member of the Brewers Alliance, being part of like the Brewers Guild, and getting my face in there. And there are not many women that attend those meetings either.
I bet. Has that ever been intimidating for you, being that you're the minority stepping in these industry? Okay.
I always hung out with the guys anyway, so there's a couple times I've been in places where I just felt like, oh, they're not trying to talk to me. But guess what I do? I go stand in the middle of them and I'll start a conversation and let them know that it's me. It's not the color of my skin. It doesn't matter.
I don't want you to miss out on all of this conversation right here. Okay?
Yeah. Like I'll just start up a conversation. Or like somebody, like I'll walk up and be like, hey, I follow you on Instagram. I follow you on this. What is your secret to doing this? Why do you do this way? Why do you have these brewing techniques? Or why do you market your stuff on Instagram this way? Or, when do you post your stuff? How do you get more followers? Like,
that's it. I like that. So you're not waiting for it to come to you. You're going after it. No. Because I feel like people need to hear that sometimes where you might have the talent, the knowledge, you might have the desire, but are you putting forth any action to it? Like you said, you go to these events where you're the only woman, or you might be the only black woman, and now that can be a little bit intimidating. But if you don't have that drive in you, to, like you said, you go out into the middle, you talk to people, you introduce yourself, you initiate those conversations. I feel like that gets missing for a lot of people, and then they end up not achieving the things they wanted to, and they start to regret those. So I'm happy to hear that you don't let that be a barrier or an obstacle. You go ahead and you push through that. So.
Yeah, I commend that as well, because when you're telling your story, it's so many points where you could have been the victim, like with your manager with the chicken wings, and he was like, you need to focus on the chicken. You didn't take that conversation of, daggone it, my performance review is low, and no, you took that moment and found the golden nugget and was like, maybe I need to be focusing on something that I'm passionate about.
That
So
right
you have that, I guess, that spirit of conquering what you want by any means necessary.
Yes.
That's how it.
Yes.
You have to have that. You have to have that. So that's good.
Yeah. So that is wonderful. So when is the next event for Pink Boots?
We have our Christmas party on Wednesday.
Oh.
Yeah, we have our Christmas party on Wednesday, and I've been
7. Is that Wednesday?
Yeah, and it's at South End Brewing here in Greensboro. And then just we're getting geared up to do our collaboration brew days for 2023. So I think I've probably reached out to about 20 breweries.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So we did 7 last year, and I'd like to double that this year. Yeah, why not?
Why not?
Why not?
This is a nonprofit.
Yes. This is a nonprofit organization.
Okay. Now, do you, where you work in Pink Boots, do you kind of collaborate?
Yes, my job actually pays my membership fees for me. They support us. Yes,
everything is just lined up.
Yes, they take Little Brothers takes care of me. Let me tell you, by far, Little Brothers, they take care of me. Yes.
Shout out to Little Brothers.
Yes. The majority of the time, my conferences and stuff like that, if it's like a registration fee, they cover my registration fees for me. They're like, yes, go.
Right.
Go,
the more knowledge you know, the more you could bring back as a manager.
It benefits them.
Yeah.
Right? And that's the thing, for them to recognize that and
right.
invest.
They're always giving me shout outs. If they see something that I done and I post it on Instagram, like we have like a little group, like I guess it's like the employee, like where we conversate. It's called Slack. They'll ding and they're like, oh my God, Slack. We seen you did this, LaShanda. Congratulations on this. Or,
Yeah.
That's cool.
So do they see their numbers going up with customers because you were there? Have they tracked?
Yes. So in our tap room in Graham, since I'm from Graham in the Burlington area, everybody's regulars there. So it's really cool when people walk in. I'm like, hey, Tim. Hey, Tom, hey, Angela, how you doing? Blah, blah, blah. I know everybody by name. And then if there is a person in there that may be like, because a lot of people are moving into Graham from like Raleigh, Durham, and they're like, I was like, how do you know everybody? I was like, well, I was born and raised here, so I known them for like 15 years. I'm like, oh yeah, well, you see this successful guy right here. Well, I met him when he was 16 years old. We worked at the local O'Charlie's together. Yeah. Now he is a sales representative for these doctors and everything, and they still come in and they see me.
Yeah.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, you done built yourself a whole community.
Yes. All my little friends and family. So like when people come in, like if I see them coming in, I'm like, all right. Or if they like the beer that they normally drink, I'm like, all right, well, we don't have that beer in stock anymore, but this is the same beer style that you prefer. Here you go. They don't second guess me. They take that beer and run on.
Go
trust,
on.
But you built that relationship, and within that relationship, there's that trust. Mm-hmm. They already know if LaShanda says, that it's going to be good.
Yes, it's going to be good. Right.
Yeah, that's good.
Now, the brewery company that you manage, what's the owner's name?
His name is Josh.
Josh
Co.
Okay.
Josh Co. Yes.
No, I feel like I met him.
Josh Co is a local musician. You know the Beer Co up here? Right on the corner, like right behind Little Brothers. He used to own that. Him and his dad have opened a lot of bars around, like in Greensboro and in Graham and Burlington. And once they get them established, they sell them. So that's what they did. Okay. Yes.
So that's what they're doing to the brewery that you're at as well. Mm-mm. But
now Josh is he moved up in the Little Brother company. And he's like over all 3 of the locations. Mm-hmm. But like the tap room that I'm in is still just like his one. Okay. But he still is like more, I guess he probably like the operations.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
He does like all the operations, make sure everything runs. He books our bands that we do. And he makes sure like the tap room managers have everything they need to be able to give to their employees.
Yeah, it's a very nice spot. I really like it. It's intimate.
I like our spot because it's like there's a lot of different things you can do there. Mm-hmm. We rent the back out for events. We have the bands. We do trivia. We do karaoke. We do paint nights and all kinds of different events. Cater to like everybody.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, because then you're pulling in all groups.
Yes,
so and then try this beer.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. I love it. So what's next on your plate? What do you see yourself?
LaShanda.
Yeah.
I am in the process of, I want a bottle and tap shop myself. Okay. Everybody just, they try to wish it on me. They're like, when are you opening your brewery? I'm like, I really don't want a brewery, guys. Yeah. I want a bottle and tap shop. So
wait, what's the difference?
I was going to ask that
too. So a brewery, you brew the beer and you serve your beer at the brewery.
Only your beer?
Only your beer. Because it's your beer, you make it. A bottle and tap shop is more of a variety. Because I feel like everybody, like you can't brew,
but your beer. Can your beer still be a part of that? Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. Your beer can still be a part of that. So you have a couple taps, like 5 or 6 taps, and then you have coolers where you display all different types of beers from all over. Because I believe that not everybody drinks the same beer. Right. Everybody doesn't want an IPA. Everybody doesn't want a sour beer. There's 144 different styles of beer out there. Yeah. So you can get, like, in a bottle shop, I can get beers to come over from Germany or from Ireland or from Japan. Like, you can have the different variety and the different culture inside of that bottle shop instead of just making the few styles that you're able to brew in your brew house. Do I eventually want a brewery? Yes.
Okay, so
but I want to start out
the table
with a bottle and tap shop.
A bottle and tap. It seems like to do brewery is much more management in the area. Okay, all right. So bottle and tap. I can totally see you getting your
and so with the opportunity of having the bottle and tap shop, you can always add on to it and add that brewery onto it. So then you'd have your production right there, and you'd be able to just bring it over to your bottle and tap shop.
Yeah. The question I want to ask you, just right before the show was kind of talking about, I was telling LaShanda how my cousins, they like really dark beer. And I think they consider it like German beer or something. But is each, like, cultures, the color of beer different for all those?
It depends.
Okay.
It depends because each culture still makes similar styles.
Okay.
They still make similar styles.
So is there a big difference with a dark color beer? And the only reason I ask is because that seemed to be what my cousin goes to. He's just like, he wants that dark beer.
Is the taste different?
I guess.
It's more of a malty, roasty, chocolatey. You brew it with a different type of malt. So you can either use like a really light colored malt, or you can use a really dark colored malt. Okay. There's like a different variety of the different colors of the malts that you use inside the beer to get what type of beer that you're looking for.
What are you usually drinking on?
Right now, I love sours. Sours are my favorite. Saisons are really good, really earthy tones. But right now, just a lager or a pilsner.
Okay.
Is like a common thing that I typically go to. More like a German style pilsners are really good and crisp, and they still have like a hot flavor on the back of it, but not so bitter as like you're drinking an IPA.
Yeah. I just love the descriptions that she gives when she talks about
it was so hard to begin with. Like I would just use the same few words, but now as I drink it and I learn it, there's like so many different words that you can describe beer, and nobody's wrong when they're describing a beer. Everybody gets a different thing off of it.
I know it does.
It does. And I'm not a beer drinker, but I'm like, man, I need to try some beer.
Yeah, it's like I'm missing out. It's because when you go into having language for what you're drinking, it just makes the experience so much better. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's how like with wine. That's why I like wine. It's because I'm learning a little bit about it, and so if I'm tasting wine, I just want to sound, I don't know, like some shit. You know what I'm saying?
Wine is hard.
Well, yeah.
Wine
you think it's harder than beer?
Yes.
Oh, that's interesting.
I think learning wine is harder than beer.
Why so?
I don't know. Because you have to know a specific grape. I feel like it's easier to, I don't know.
Okay, because beer is made. Okay, tell me what beer is made out of.
Beer is made from, so you use malts. And what you do is you take the little malts and then you crack those open and it exposes the husk and the shells and you boil it. And you're extracting the sugar. So beer is just sugar water. And then once you start adding...
You break it down.
Yeah. Beer is just sugar water.
I was drinking sugar water as a young man. So
it starts out as the sugar water and then you add in your hops. And then once you ferment it, and it sits and it ferments, and
so
then
the hops
when it ferments,
is what gives you the buzz.
No, the hops is just gives you like flavoring and like.
What's giving me the buzz?
Malt. Once it's fermented, the same way wine gives you the buzz.
Yeah.
Wine has to be fermented.
Yeah, that's right.
You have to release that. You have to release that CO2.
That small brain.
You have to release the CO2 out of it, but it just starts as a small grain, and you crack it open.
You know what CO2 is?
And it's just. It's just sugar water to begin with.
Yeah, I was playing. Yeah. Okay.
I'm not even paying attention over there. It's just me and you.
Okay.
It's not here. But okay, so you have a lot going on, and you're getting ready to go into marriage. And I believe you do. You got a baby girl, or she?
I have 3 kids.
You got 3.
Yes. Congrats. So my oldest is 21.
Oh, you got an adult.
Yes. And my daughter, she's 18. She's in her.
I know.
Yeah.
She's 18. She's in her senior year. Awesome. Of high school, and then I have a 10-year-old.
Okay.
The baby.
Yes, the baby.
And so how do you balance all of, going after your dream, open up your...
Now it's easy that I don't got to take them to daycare, or I don't need a babysitter or anything like that. Like, it's like, what? It's like, I'm like, what? Check their location. They good. Mom's going to get another drink. They check on me. They check on me. They're like, Mama, where are you at? What are you doing? What brew are you at today? What are you doing? Oh, my God.
I love
Get
it.
home safely, Mom.
I know, but I'm like, every time I go out, like, doing something for beer, I'm like, I'm not getting drunk every time. The majority of the time, I have, like, 2 beers because there's so many people talking to me.
Right.
Now, there are some events that we go to that I have to, like, pace myself.
Yeah.
But the majority of the time, 2 beers. 2, maybe 3 is about what I end up getting to have because I'm, like, all over the place. Somebody's like, oh, my God, can you come do... I'm like, okay, all right. And I finish this conversation and one more person is asking another question, like...
Yeah. So it's like Mama is not getting drunk like that.
No, she is not.
You drive safely, okay, Mama?
Well, like, y'all gonna come pick me up is the question.
I know. Like they trying to switch the roles.
Okay. So it's not much balancing you have to do right now because they're in that age where they're more independent.
It came at like the perfect, like it literally came at the perfect time. Everything.
Yeah.
COVID. It started with COVID, and I was like, and I just was like. Everything just started flowing after COVID, and I was like, "Wow,
you found your groove."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You're not the. We've had other people on the show talk about how COVID was such a good thing for them, and how it gave them some direction. Allowed them to kind of focus on what they wanted to do and making those moves to get there. So I know we talked so negatively about the pandemic and everything, but it's a lot of good things.
I was able to spend a lot of time just being at home at first, just hanging out at home, and then you're like, all right, well then you start cleaning and then you start decluttering stuff and like then you're like, you come home and you're like, oh, okay, it's like, kids is good, it wasn't all that bad. You wasn't spending any money hardly on nothing. Bank account was getting fat, it was just like it's all just like flowed all together.
I really think with COVID, unfortunately, we had to experience time with ourselves through that avenue. But if you do get a chance in a moment to spend that time learning yourself and not being so busy, I think our society is just so busy. You got to do this, you got to do that. Your calendar is booked. And then you never have time to just go within yourself to say, what do I want? What is success to me, instead of chasing somebody else's success?
Right there.
Yeah, that's major. That's major because we do compare ourselves to a lot of other people. And I think that COVID gave a lot of people the opportunity to not be busy.
Yeah, but it also made you not feel guilty for not being busy.
Don't you feel guilty when you're not doing stuff?
Yeah, because nobody else could be busy because you couldn't go nowhere. Yeah. So it was like, oh, I don't feel bad for doing this. Let me take this extra 5 seconds to do this or change this, or let's move this furniture around and see how this lighting looks over here.
It was definitely a good means for the country to do some self-reflection.
Yes.
And really understand what's important, what you need to put first in your life. And I think that was, because like your statement, it's something I say all the time to people, is that working for someone, is great. But there's a difference between working for someone and working for yourself, and meaning how much of yourself you give to it. If I'm working for myself, then it's no time. But when I'm working for somebody else, I need my time outside of, because I can give you everything and neglect me, and it benefits that business more than it'll ever benefit me. So it's having that understanding. And I like when I hear people talk about that and say, how they have an understanding of where they are in their career, whether they're working for someone or working for themselves. But it takes time to get to that point. And as we talked about, is knowing your worth and what your value is. Yeah. And not looking for someone to evaluate that for you.
Right.
Completely what you're capable of.
Right.
And it allows you to move differently.
Because with you self-educated, you're self-educated in the beer industry. And so that's power in that. And that's the value that you have to just say, I'm going to go do it. And and then becoming the manager of the tap room and all of the steps that you took to be right here. You have it's like the universe has no choice but to give you what you. Oh yeah, because you don't put your seed. You sowed your seeds. You did your work, and you're going after it. Yeah, so that's why when you was like, it just started happening for you. Yeah. So your future is good in this beer industry. I'm just excited to see.
What is it? The future's so bright. You have to wear shades.
Bling, bling. Also, we have a national beer conference called the Craft Beer Conference that we go to every year. It's like big, thousands and thousands of breweries. And
where's this at?
It's in Nashville, Tennessee this year. Okay. And I'll be
changes year to year.
Yes, it goes different places every year. And I think we'll be in Vegas the next year.
Okay.
Yes. Release all those beer people into But I'll be speaking on a panel with
nice.
4 other people.
LaShanda,
yes. We're talking about
she comes out so humble. So humble. It's like we gotta pull it out. Like you could have started the conversation with that.
5 actionable strategies on how to increase taproom sales. Nice. And we're really trying to not go to like the regular stuff, like it's not like, oh, you can just sell to-go beer or you can do this. We're like really reaching into it, and we got some like real good topics that we've just already brainstormed, and it's really cool to be on a panel with people from everywhere, because there's a guy that works at Monday Night Brewing, and then you have Andrew that's in Norfolk, and then there's a lady that's in Atlanta, and then you have me that's in Burlington, and we come together on these Zoom meetings. And then when we meet up in Nashville, like, how much fun we're going to have together? Like, we're going to get together and we're gonna have we're gonna get together. We're gonna do our little panel discussion thing, and then we're gonna want to go out together and talk, and that's more people that I have created more relationships with.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. The relationship building is important. You seem excited.
I am excited. It's so much fun.
It is. I mean, and that's what it's all about.
It's so much fun. Yes, and drink beer.
And drink beer.
You found it, girl.
You found it. Yes.
Good for you. Good for you. Before we wrap up, we do have a little segment that we do, and it's the I am segment. And all that is you say I am, and then you describe what you are in this moment. And so we're gonna start. But first, we're gonna close it out.
Yes.
Before.
As always, thank you for being here with the show. You can find us on all social media outlets: Apple, Spotify, YouTube, Anchor, and so on. Google,
Google Broadcast.
And if you have any topic suggestions, comments, you can always reach out to us at broadbeltspeaks03@gmail.com. Also too, what did I forget? Our TikTok. Go to TikTok, it's just Broadbelt Speaks. And as always, we like to make it known Broadbelt Speaks is the #1 podcast in the Triad.
Oh, yes. So. Okay. Well said. I need you to give us your social media handles.
It is at Black Beer Mom. So it's BLKBEEBEER.
Right MOM.
Yes.
I like that. You just give your social media tag. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So.
And I like the top is the
well, let me see this.
It's the image of the
But that's my actual face.
Oh, really?
Yes.
But
it's a pine cone.
Right.
It's a hop.
A hop. Thank you.
Which is a cousin to cannabis.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm. A hop is cousin to cannabis.
Oh, that's interesting.
That is.
Okay.
It was like, what can we do with that?
I know. That's what my mind went. How does that feel? Okay. So I will go first. So I can just give you an example of where I am. So I am curious, excited, and I am forever evolving.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
You gonna go?
Yeah, I'll go. I'll say I am open to listening and keeping an open mind.
I am humble, grounded, and always looking for new things.
That's good. I like that.
Grounded.
Yes.
Yeah. You can look for new things, people, once you are grounded. Don't be looking for new things you ain't grounded.
Get you finding the wrong thing. Find the wrong thing.
I want to try this new thing. No.
Put the pipe down.
Yeah. It's new, but it's not good for you. Your mama said no drugs.
Yeah.
All right, Kurt, do you want to chime in? No. Not today. But thank you so much for
You're so welcome.
for being on our podcast. It was really last minute, so I'm so grateful.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm so grateful that you said yes. And I'm loving the photos and your Instagram. Keep it going. It's very informative. Anytime I scroll past your page, it's inspiring.
Yes.
So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
All right. And thank you guys for watching another episode of Broadbelt Speaks. Until next time.
Peace.
Yay.